สวัสดีค่ะรายการรอบรู้กับไทยทีโซลซึ่งจัดโดยสมาคมครูผู้สอนภาษาอังกฤษแห่งประเทศไทยในพระอุปถัมภ์ของสมเด็จพระเจ้าพี่นางเธอเจ้าฟ้ากัลยาณิวัฒนากรมหลวงนราธิวาสราชนครินทร์ก็กลับมาพบกับท่านเช่นเคยนะคะสำหรับในช่วงของการพัฒนาเทคนิควิธีการสอนภาษาอังกฤษคราวนี้ทางสมาคมได้รับเกียรติจาก Professor Alan Melly ซึ่งเป็นวิทยากรชั้นนำของโลกในด้านการสอนภาษาอังกฤษท่านแต่งหนังสือเกี่ยวกับการสอนภาษาอังกฤษมากมายหลายเล่มและเป็นวิทยากรรับเชิญในการประชุมสัมมนาทางด้านการเรียนการสอนภาษาอังกฤษในหลายสิบประเทศทั่วโลกรวมทั้งในการประชุมประจำปีของสมาคมไทยทีโซลท่านได้ให้เกียรติเป็นวิทยากรรับเชิญมานำเสนอวิธีการใช้ poetry หรือบทกลอนภาษาอังกฤษในการเรียนการสอนภาษาอังกฤษโดยจะแบ่งเป็น4ตอนด้วยกันคือตอนที่1 poetry and sound ตอนที่2 poetry and meaningตอนที่3 Poetry and Culture และตอนที่4 Bringing it all together สำหรับตอนแรก Poetry and Sound เป็นการสาธิตการสอนโดยการนำบทกลอนภาษาอังกฤษมาใช้ในการสอนโดยเน้นการฝึกออกเสียงโดยนำบทกลอนซึ่งมีลักษณะการใช้คำศัพท์ที่มีการออกเสียงลักษณะต่างๆมาฝึกในการออกเสียงเชิญติดตามได้ค่ะ
Good morning, everybody. Well, you know what we're going to do in this program. We're going to talk about using poetry. Ooh, poetry. Oh, very frightening, isn't it? Why is everybody afraid of poetry? You don't like it? Why not? Difficult. Okay, you think it's difficult? Oh. The language is difficult to understand. Not always. Sometimes.
Sometimes you don't understand what the author wants to say.
You don't always understand what, not the first time you read, because sometimes you have to read more than once, you know? In fact, you read it many, many times usually. How about you, Anne-Marie?
Well, I think it has something to do with just reading between the lines. And
Reading between the lines.
The figures of speech used.
Sometimes you need to do that, but not always. Not always. Anyway, today, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at poetry and sound, the sounds of poetry, because that's one of the important things in poetry, isn't it? The way that we use sounds, the sounds of English, okay? So I'm going to ask you a few questions before we look at the poem, all right? What time did you get up this morning? 4 o'clock. Oh dear. Anyone else get up at 4? You also got up at 4, okay? Did anyone get up later than 7? All right, okay. What time did you get up?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, my goodness. Okay, so everyone got up quite early this morning. And when you get up in the morning, I want you to think about the sounds that you hear. What sort of things do you hear when you get up in the morning? What sounds? Alarm clock, all right, yes, okay. A cock crowing, you mean?
A bell.
A bell?
Yeah.
Okay, a temple bell?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
My mother.
Your mother?
my mother wake me up.
Oh, she wakes you up, okay. What does she do? She just...
She shouts.
Oh, she shouts, okay, all right. How about you, Juan?
The sound of cars, traffic,
Sound of cars, sound of traffic,
the rattling sound in the kitchen.
rattling sounds. What of?
Because of the helper, she was preparing breakfast.
Preparing breakfast, okay.
Sometimes I hear the sound from the telephone.
From the telephone. Okay, telephone's ringing. Yeah, other sounds?
From alarm clock.
Just the alarm clock?
Yeah.
Oh. What about sounds outside the house?
Because
You can't hear?
because it's
In your place you can't hear, all right? But you hear a lot of things where you live, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, birds.
Birds, okay, you hear birds singing in the morning. All right, well, the poem that we're going to look at, or listen to, is actually called Mornings. And it's all about the sounds that you hear in the morning when you wake up. That's all it is about. It's not a very deep, significant poem. It's just about the sounds, okay? But we're focusing on the sounds. I'm going to read it for you. Before I give it to you to read yourself, I will read it for you, okay? So all I want you to do is just listen, and listen for the sounds. Okay. So it's called Mornings. Rustling sheet, shuffling feet, creaking bones, stifled groans, chirping, crowing, noses blowing, toilets flushing, bath taps gushing, coffee cups clatter, breakfast chatter, neighbors singing, telephones ringing, radios tuning, traffic booming, motorbikes thrumming, power drills drumming, jet planes thunder. I just wonder at the noise. Okay? So it's all about small sounds to begin with, and then bigger and bigger and bigger sounds. Okay? All right. So, there's the poem to look at. Okay. Now, in case you don't understand any of the words, you must ask me, all right? So let's read it together, line by line. Rustling sheet. You know rustle? Rustling paper, rustling sheets. Shuffling feet. When you put your slippers on and, all right, go to the bathroom. Creaking bones. People of my age, you know, when you get out of bed, your bones go, "Argh," you know, they complain. Stifled groans. Stifled, do you know the word stifled? Stifled, it means you don't let it come out. You keep it, but, you know, you don't make a big noise, you keep it in. Stifled. Chirping. What is chirping? The noise that birds make, right? Crowing. Crowing? What's crowing? Yeah. You mentioned, you heard, it's a bird. What kind of bird? A cock. Okay. Cocks crow. Right? Okay, like that. What's the noise in, what do you say in Thai? Say. It's interesting because this sound, in different languages, you say it differently, all right? In France, cocks don't go cock-a-doodle-doo, they go cocorico, you know? So every language seems to have a different way of describing this sound, okay? So, chirping, crowing, noses blowing, toilets flushing, bath taps gushing. Gushing? And the water comes out very strongly. Okay, you turn the tap on and it comes out. Coffee cups clatter. Coffee cups clatter. This is the noise that you heard from your kitchen, all right? Yeah. So when you bang the cups together, it makes that noise, clattering, yeah? Breakfast chatter. Neighbors singing. Telephones ringing, radios tuning. Yes, you tune the radio to find the right program. Traffic booming. Motorbikes thrumming. Brum. That's the word we use to describe that sound. Power drills. Do you know what power drills are? Can someone give me a demonstration using a power drill? So, again? Oh, you obviously never worked on the roads. Okay. Anyone else? You know? Like that, yeah? That's a power drill, right? Okay. Drumming, making this drumming sound. Jet planes thunder in the sky, and I just wonder at the noise. All right. Are there any problems now with vocabulary? So where is all this difficult vocabulary? that you say you find in poems? Maybe not so difficult always. A few words, yes, but not too many. What do you notice about the way that the sounds are used in this poem?
The first two lines is like sound E, C, and feet.
Okay, so you got, and then?
And then bone and grow.
Bones and groans. Crowing and blowing. Flushing and gushing. Clatter, chatter, right? Singing, ringing, tuning, booming, thrumming, drumming, all right? Thunder and wonder. So what do we call this in English? Rhyme, yeah. It's a very simple rhyme. What else do you notice about the sounds, though? If I say the word rustling, 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 what is it describing, that word? Rustling is describing a sound, isn't it? The sound of sheets on the bed, the sheets rustling. Okay? But when you say the word rustle, what does it sound like? Rustle. It sounds like you are, like the sound that it describes. Yeah? So rustle sounds like rustling. Yeah? Are there any other words here that sound like their meaning? Shuffle, yeah. Shuffling, there's a kind of a, you know, it sounds a bit like the sound, doesn't it? Shuffle, okay. Any other ones? Creak. If you say creak in that way, it sounds like something creaking. Yes? And? Stifled? Stifled I don't think works in quite that way. But what about groans? Groans. All right, you groan in pain or you groan with boredom. Any other ones? Chirping, yes. Chirping is a little bit like the sound of a bird, isn't it? Chirp, chirp. Chirping. Yes? Not every word here is like that, but some are. Can you find any more? Thrumming. Okay, thrumming is a bit like the sound of a motorbike. Yeah? Ringing. Ringing is maybe. Yeah? What about booming? Boom. You know, boom suggests also the sound that it describes. Gushing. You know, it's the sound of water, isn't it? Gushing, gushing. Okay, so this is another way that the poem works, because it uses vocabulary that is, in a way, sounds like the things that it describes. Do you know what that is called in English? It's a very long word. Wonderfully long word, which I probably can't spell. Onomatopoeia. It's a Greek word, actually. Like all the best English words, it's a Greek word. Yeah. Onomatopoeia, and it means the word sounds like the sound that it describes. That's all. You don't have to learn this word, but it's a nice word. Very nice word. You can impress your friends by using this word, okay? All right. So there are two ways then in this poem, at least two ways in which we use the sounds. Okay, the first one is rhyme. You mentioned rhyme. And the second one is onomatopoeia. All right? Are there any other ways that you can use sound in this poem? All right, let me just, I'll take the words away and just do one sound all the way through. Dum dum dum, dum dum dum, dum dum dum, dum dum dum. Dum 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 dum, dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum, dum 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 dum. What's that? What do we call that? Not intonation. Intonation is when our voices go down and up and so on, yeah? It's not tone. It's rhythm. Yeah, it's rhythm. And poetry works not just with rhyme, but also with rhythm. So if you wanted to make this sound effective, you would use the rhythm underlying, because there is a kind of a development in the poem, a development of sounds from the beginning to the end. All right? So if I read it again to you, I'll do it this time in a slightly different way, and just listen to the rhythm this time. Rustling sheet, shuffling feet, creaking bones, stifled groans, chirping, crowing, noses blowing, toilets flushing, bath taps gushing, coffee cups clatter, breakfast chatter, neighbors singing, telephones ringing, radios tuning, traffic booming, motorbikes thrumming, power drills drumming, jet planes thunder. I just wonder at the noise. Okay? What do you notice apart from the rhythm, what else do you notice about the way I use the sound in this, when I read it this time? The level of?
The violence.
Violence. Yeah, we start off with very gentle sounds and we end up with very loud ones. Yeah, very, very loud ones. Very intense, noisy sounds. So another way that you can use sound in poems is volume. So it's as if you're turning up the volume on the set as you start from the beginning up to the end, okay? And if in your mind, yeah, let's just think about what do you see in your mind when you read this poem? Do you have any pictures? Any pictures? What kind of pictures do you have in your mind, Anne-Marie?
Like, I imagine myself like in bed.
You imagine yourself, okay, that's, yeah, so you,
Getting up and
yeah.
I hear the like rustling sheet. I imagine
Yeah.
the sheets.
As you throw the sheets off,
And,
yeah,
the way you walk.
yeah,
You don't feel like getting up, so
Mhm.
your feet something like they shuffle,
mm-hmm.
and your bones would creak. Because
Right.
you want to stretch.
That's right. Okay, so you see yourself actually experiencing these things, okay. Does anyone see different pictures?
See something around you.
You see things around you, yeah. All right, suppose you look out of the window.
Around you. You.
Around me?
Yeah.
Oh! What sort of things do you see around me?
Like creaking bones.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, creaking bones, all right. Yes, when I get out of bed in the morning, I feel, usually I do it very, very slowly these days because I don't want to, you know, pull a muscle or make myself uncomfortable for later in the day. So I get out of bed very gently now. Yeah, yeah. When you reach my age, you will do the same, perhaps. Okay, so one of the things that sounds also bring to mind is pictures. Pictures inside your mind, in your head. And I would like you to remember this when we look at the other poems later on in other programs, okay? Because one of the ways of understanding poetry is to see the pictures in your head, okay? All right, what I would like you to do now, if you would, is to make up a few pairs of, all right, adjectives and nouns, like in the poem, okay? So we have coffee cups clatter, for example, all right? Or we have, sorry, bath taps gushing, all right? What other things can we do? Can you suggest some other lines that we could put into the poem, perhaps? We might make the poem longer by putting more sounds in. Do you have some suggestions?
Old man coughing.
Okay, nice one, yes. Old man coughing. We'll take poor old onomatopoeia away. How do you spell cough? C-O-U-G. I-N-G. All right. Old man coughing. Any others? Baby crying. All right. Oh, I don't think we better put that one. It would be very bad luck if we put that. Yeah. Especially as we're coming up to Y2K. You know, we have to be very careful about, mustn't tempt providence. Yes. Any other suggestions?
Father snoring.
Father snoring, okay. Why is it always father? People say that I snore, but I know that I don't. I'm sure of it. When I wake up, I'm not snoring. How could I be snoring? Okay. Other ones? What about sounds of cooking? Cooking sounds.
Fish frying.
Okay, fish frying. Anything else?
Onion cutting.
Onions. You can't hear an onion cutting, can you?
Bone.
Water boiling, perhaps. We're running out of things now. Okay. Any other things? One more. What do drains do? No drains? When you are in your bath, what's the sound of the water going down the drain? Dripping? Well, if it's dripping, there's something wrong with your drain. Yes. Flushing is what a toilet does. Sometimes we say drains they gurgle. Gurgle, you know? That sound as if, okay, that's another onomatopoeic sound, isn't it? Gurgle. When you say it, it sounds like it. All right? So drains gurgling. Okay, we could do a lot more of these, couldn't we? And if we were doing this in class, maybe, it depends on the level of your students, but maybe you would give some of these words and ask them to give the other words. Okay, what do old men do? What noise do they make, you know, in the morning? You could actually elicit from the students some of the other words, and you could make up some more things. You could actually make your own poem, all right? Maybe your poem wouldn't rhyme, but that doesn't matter so much. You know, you could make your own poem about what happens in the morning to them, perhaps, because it's always a good idea to try to personalize a poetry session. So it's not something very remote, but something which is close to their own experience. Okay? All right. Would somebody like to read it for us? No. Yes?
I can make it sound like you.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. I won't ask one person to read it. I ask everybody to read it. Okay? So what we do is everyone takes one line. Okay? So you do the first line, second line, so it will be rustling sheet, shuffling feet, duck, 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 and then back to here again until we finish. Okay?
You have to make sound like you do.
No, well, you can try. You can try. If you want to, you can try. Okay? So shall we start? Say it nice and loud so we can all hear. Okay?
Rustling sheet,
Shuffling feet, creaking bones,
striking bones,
Getting current.
Noses blowing. Toilets flushing.
bathtub gushing,
coffee cups rattling,
breakfast chatter, neighbors singing,
Telephone ringing.
Radios tuning.
traffic booming,
motorbike drumming,
power drill drumming, jet planes thunder.
just wonder.
At the noise.
Good, okay, very nice. A nice strong end there. Okay, you can play around with having students do this too, can't you? You can do it in groups as well, or you can do it in two-line segments, you know, so that every rhyming couplet is spoken by one person, perhaps. Yeah. Okay, before we finish, would you like to ask any questions? Either about the poem or about the teaching of the poem.
I think of my student. They are in Chayapum, what Chayapum, in Southeast or Northeast.
Yeah.
I don't think they can create some noun. and
Okay, well,
adjective.
if they can't create them, then you can help them by, just a minute. Just to give an example, okay, you might have two columns. In one of them you put these. In the other column you put things which are in a different order. Okay? We'll keep, I'll change it to clattering because it's a fuller sentence. Okay? So you would have a whole lot of nouns or whatever here, and they would have the adjectives in a different order. And then all they have to do is put them together. Okay? So they don't have to invent them, then they just have to find the right combinations. And that's easier, isn't it? A little bit. I mean, it's not so easy to create something anew, but if you have some help, they still have something to do because they have to find the right, they have to match the two sides. Is that a possibility? Okay. Yeah. Any other questions or? Well, I think that we should perhaps stop there, and then next time when we meet again, we will look at another poem, and the next poem we are going to look at will look more at the meaning. We'll also look at the sound, because you have to always look at the sound in a poem, because I think most poems are written to be spoken. That's where you get lots of the pleasure from hearing them. Okay? So we'll do that next time. Thanks very much.